Up next on The Bottom Line, a positive plan for educating students with mental health issues.
They're able to make these connections and feel comfortable with peers because they're not that odd man out.
We introduce you to Yale University's first Black student body president who calls Montgomery County home.
I think it's so important to support your local Boys and Girls Club, your local community center, because it's like they say, it takes a town, or it takes a village, it takes a community to raise someone.
And the legacy of urban farmer Charlie Koiner lives on.
I think he'd be happy that his spirit lives on and that we're doing everything we can to keep his farm going.
Thanks for watching, everyone. I'm Susan Kenedy. Good mental health is essential to every child's success in school. At Magruder High School in Rockville, there's a program that's supporting students with challenges to be their very best. It's estimated that 60% of high school students who suffer with a mental health disorder do not graduate. But this year, 18 students who were part of the Magruder High School Enhanced Social Emotional Support Services program have collected their diploma.
I think that this is probably the most amazing thing that's happened to me so far in my life.
Sarah Kessler is one of those graduates. She had dealt with a series of bullying and trauma at her home school that led to depression and anxiety. She was skipping school and her grades plummeted. Her junior year, she enrolled in the Magruder program.
Of course, reluctant because I hate change.
The only one of its kind in Montgomery County. She'll tell you with the program, she's blossomed.
They are really accepting here, and they also help you by implementing you into mainstream classes, which is the classes in the regular school.
Paul Bash's son, Andrew, did not attend one day of classes in 10th grade. He was so desperate to get him help, he had him hospitalized.
And that was probably the low point.
But things got much better for the Bash family.
Describe this program. And I thought, where the hell has that been? It's like exactly what we need.
Andrew excelled. He took AP classes, graduated, and plans to study computer science at the University of Maryland.
We need to do more in meeting the needs of our kids throughout the county. Having a regionalistic approach, sheer number of students that they're able to accommodate and the waiting lists that they have for this program means that we want to open up access to more kids who we know would be able to benefit from the particulars of this program.
But for Kristen Eccleston, one of the best parts of creating this learning environment is watching the students who once struggled to fit in find a place where they can be themselves.
They're able to make these connections and feel comfortable with peers because they're not that odd man out. It's a fresh start with peers who understand where they're coming from. And that is the stuff that's most important with peers, with friends, to have friends to call. And I love that.
Khalil Green made history when his classmates at Yale University elected him the first Black student body president. This young man grew up right here in Montgomery County, and Councilmember Craig Rice caught up with him at the Boys and Girls Club in Germantown, where Khalil spent much of his time as a young boy.
Germantown native Khalil Green has just made history. Green is a rising junior at Yale University. In the spring, he was elected president of the student body, the first African American to hold that office since the school was established 318 years ago.
Hey, Khalil.
Nice to meet you.
I caught up with him at the Boys and Girls Club in Germantown, a place that Khalil says was formidable in his development as a child.
How's everything?
It's going really well.
Good.
I'm having a great summer. Everything's kind of coming together. It's a lot to take in. What grade are you guys in? First grade. So I came in when I was in second grade, so I was 1 year older than they are.
Khalil attended Daly Elementary School and Neilsville Middle School before entering the magnet program at Poolsville High School. He told us this urban-rural education experience felt like two different worlds.
Tell me a little bit about that experience.
So I think it's important to start with where I was before Poolesville, which is Neilsville Middle School, majority Black and Hispanic school. So coming to Poolesville was a huge, I guess, like culture shock. So in the program that I was in, so there were three main ones. I was in the one focused on science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. I was the only African-American student. By the time I graduated, there were no Latino students, Latinx students. I don't believe there were any Native or Native American students there. Also that lack of, I guess, like experience of having people who look like you, having mentors that look like you, just adds another layer that makes it that much harder to get through these different like obstacles and these different classes and all these things going on in high school. I feel like each step in the process kind of changes your trajectory. So going to Poolesville was like the link to me going to Yale and coming here. It's a link to me coming to student body president. So what it means to me is that I just feel like it's so important to have, I guess, equity, have these opportunities available to everyone. I think that's like the best thing. The opportunity should be available to anyone, no matter your background, no matter where you're from. It's important to have those mentors and having people come from places that you're from. And what I hope happens is that that is balanced out, that there's diversity, that we're encouraging everyone across the county to go to these magnet schools to achieve and to have people that they can look up to, because I think that's so important. Is there a possibility that we can like do a walkthrough?
Oh yeah. Phil's got it. He remembers when Martin and I were here, when the grand opening of the gym. Do you have a picture of that?
Yeah.
That's so amazing. So we're looking at these pictures from when the Boys and Girls Club opened their gymnasium, and Khalil was there, I was there.
There was an opening ceremony where a lot of different county officials and state officials came. Now we found pictures from that ceremony. So I'm right here, the one looking up, had shorter hair back then.
Didn't know each other at the time, and now lo and behold, here we are, both in elected office.
I'm coming back to these places that kind of had such a huge impact on my development, and then going into the next year, I just want to use all of this to do the most good I can.
Is that your dad?
No, actually, good question. So we actually both do politics. I do student government, and Councilmember Rice is a Montgomery County official who works on a lot of different county issues.
What does Germantown Boys Club mean to you?
It's huge. I was a member of Boys and Girls Club, which means I went to the summer camps, and I also did the after-school program here from 2007 to about 2013. So here is where after school, when parents would come pick up their students, so that was like around 2nd grade to 8th grade. And each stage of my development, I feel like I learned such important lessons. So Foursquare was the biggest competitive sport that they had at Boys and Girls Club.
Were you the king of Foursquare?
I was the king of Foursquare. They give you so much exposure to different experiences and knowledge. On the point of things that you wouldn't learn anywhere else, like chinchillas are not the most common pet, so that was really cool. We learned about them. They're like from South America, some type of gerbil. But they would have us, like the students, the teenagers, take care of the chinchilla. Thank you so much. How are you doing? How are you doing? Everything's good. Everything's good. Mr. T was one of the staff. He's been here for a long time, I think since its inception. So he was one of the coordinators of like a lot of our events. He would plan out the summer thing with Mr. Phil. And then he was also just like a mentor. So like one of the people who are there when you have questions or like if you do something wrong, he's there to like help you out, counsel you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for everything too. Thank you. And then the next phase of my development, they taught us so much about the world. So we did like mock Olympics, for example, where each like grade level represented a different country. And you didn't just play those sports, but you had to learn about the country. You were actually tested on whether or not like you could remember things and how well you did. And it was like such good exposure to these different concepts that you don't really get exposure to otherwise.
This was donated, new Dell computers to make this more up to date.
And then when you go up to the teen level, that's when like the topics get more I guess heavy. Let me go in the teen. I'm going in the teen center now. Yeah.
You guys know who this is? So this is Khalil Green, the first ever student body president for Yale that is Black.
So they talk about being safe when you're driving, drinking and driving, texting and driving, also sexual health, like all these different things. And it's something you don't really get anywhere else. I'm gonna go down. What's your guys' names, by the way?
Jaden.
Jaden, nice to meet you. What's your name?
Kayla.
Michaela, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you, William. Can you give me a handshake? Nice strong handshake. For all of these different reasons, I think it's so important to support your local Boys and Girls Club, your local community center, because it's like they say, it takes a town, or it takes a village, it takes a community to raise someone, and Boys and Girls Club was that community for so many of us. A lot of what I want to go into revolves around politics or economics, so that leads to different career paths, but we might see me come back here. Definitely coming back to visit the Boys and Girls Club every once in a while. And in terms of what that looks like professionally, I guess we'll see down the line.
Early this year, a very special county resident passed away at the age of 98. Charlie Koiner spent his entire life farming in Montgomery County, and his urban farm in downtown Silver Spring was established in 1979. It's just 1 acre, but this small urban farm has had a big impact on the community. For 35 years, the Koiner farm has remained an agricultural oasis as the city that surrounds it has grown and changed. And on this day, neighbors and friends.
You can find uses for these anywhere.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
How's everything?
Thanks for coming out today.
Of course.
Including Councilmember Tom Hucker.
Looks great.
They would put the milk from the cows in here.
Stopped by for a chance to own a piece of the legacy of the first urban farmer in Montgomery County, Charlie Koiner.
Is that a tie bar?
Yeah, that's got his initials on it.
I think you clip, and then you clip. It's like a microphone. Put onto your shirt.
Very fancy. Yeah. The items told the story of a unique man.
It's a meat grinder.
Oh, a meat grinder.
My mom had one of these.
Wow.
Isn't that wild?
Who spent his life farming and stayed true to those roots until the end. Charlie Koiner passed away peacefully in January at the age of 98. A farmer his entire life, it was his wish that the farm continue in his absence. In May, with the support of Charlie's daughter Lynn, volunteers Kate Medina and Hannah Shoulder founded the Charlie Koiner Center for Urban Farming. Its mission? To preserve and manage urban land for the purpose of agriculture and education.
We really aspire to inspire the next generation of sustainable food innovators. So creating a space for people to come, see how food is grown, connect with the soil. We feel that that's important, particularly in urban environments, where you can feel sort of disconnected.
Really nice.
Keeping it up with it.
If you grow up in the suburbs or in an urban environment, a lot of kids think their food comes from the grocery store, right? But this is an opportunity to see a farm just a few blocks from downtown Silver Spring. You can see the skyline behind us, and this is a chance for kids in the community to come to a farm, see and learn where their food comes from to help grow it.
Thanks to Kate and Hannah, the farm is flourishing.
This is garlic. So we have yellow zucchini, green zucchini.
What you have here is the sweet William flower. This is one of Charlie's favorites, and one of the reasons why is because it's an edible flower.
So we have about 15 beehives. And luckily we have a professional beekeeper who maintains them. I would come and work with Charlie and it would just be like, my heart rate would go down. Like, I think that's the point of this farm, and I think that's what kept him going all those years.
CKC Farming hosts school field trips, lectures,
That's great to hear.
and manages interns and volunteers who are looking for hands-on farming experience.
It just seemed like really interesting that they were kind of doing this thing like in the middle of Silver Spring, and just didn't know that was happening. It feels kind of rare. It kind of feels like this is one of the only places. I don't know, it feels like not like exactly like an oasis, but it's like one of the only, I feel like, green gardening spaces that I've seen.
Along with education, this nonprofit also hopes to provide a sustainable land preservation model for other urban farms in the area. And much of the credit for this goes to the County Council and Councilmember Hucker. When the taxes on the property had become prohibitive, he introduced and passed the Urban Agriculture Tax Credit Bill, which provides a tax credit for small urban farms that are less than 3 acres. This law has allowed the Koiners to hold on to their property.
Following a change in the state law, I was able to change the county law, so he got a big tax rebate, and they were able to stay on this property now in perpetuity because they have an appropriate tax bill for a farm of this size, and that's a real asset to the community.
Charlie Koiner, forever humble and unassuming, has changed the way many Montgomery Countyans think about farms.
I think he'd be happy that his spirit lives on and that we're doing everything we can to keep his farm going in the method that he he did for so long.
That's what he would wear. That was his signature piece of. And for those who purchased a treasure of Charlie Koiner, so you have a piece of history there.
Nice.
Yeah. There will always be a connection to his important legacy.
Something of Charlie's, so.
That's special.
Yep,
You'll always remember him.
absolutely. Right,
Yeah,
right.
That's great. He's a great guy. Well, that does it for this edition of The Bottom Line. For County Cable Montgomery, I'm Susan Kenedy. Thanks for watching.